Do 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 do.
Ready to see?
Yes.
Dun, dun, dun,
I love him. Oh my god.
dun, dun.
Oh, it's so good.
He is so cute. The light in here does not do him justice, and I'm sad that I was being lazy and I didn't light him very well when I did his Instagram photo shoot, so I'll have to do another one. But look, I made an angle grinder with a sequin. And he's got the little boots.
The little boots and the texture on the face. Oh man, did you like stamp that or did you mold that all individually?
There is a you know those little pencils where you pull out one and
Oh yeah.
that's how I painted the original, was with the back of one of those dipped in paint. So I thought maybe it would work for this too, and it totally did. Look at his little shiny eye. He's so happy. And
Oh
I
my gosh.
couldn't put the daisies around his throat, which is where they are in the painting, but I was like, well, he's got this great big forehead, so now
He just has a flower crown.
he looks like a hippie in a barbarian outfit with an angle grinder.
Well, flower crowns are used in some places on the internet to represent that someone looks like a barbarian, but is actually like a softie. So I think
There
that's
you go.
perfect.
It's perfect. And zirconium is good for beautiful jewelry and for angle grinding, and both ends of that spectrum belong to him. So it's been so much fun making these damn chibis, and I'm like, oh, I really. The only thing that could make it better is if it was also lucrative. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
He's got little spikes.
just everything right there. What happened?
I kissed him. I forgot I was wearing lipstick.
Oh no. Does he have varnish or something on there?
Not yet. I need to varnish him.
Maybe wipe the lipstick off first.
I'll do that first, yeah. We don't want to varnish.
Aren't you glad it was lipstick and not a marker?
Yeah, see? That's why we don't smear marker on our lips.
That and many other reasons.
So many reasons.
Completely unrelated to anything and also not interesting to anyone except me, but I'm telling you anyway. So this morning, I woke up and I was feeling migraine-y and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go get a coffee. There's like a Starbucks down the street. And I went and I got a brown sugar oat milk espresso drink.
Okay, I've been eyeing that one and wondering if I want to.
Oh, good.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, I was shocked because, as you know, I am neither a coffee person nor an oat milk person. But
yeah, that's why I wasn't trying it.
Yeah, well, I don't even know why I did. I think I wanted a latte, but without the latte, and I was like, oat milk, fine, why not? But yeah, it was fantastic. So I have now decided to get the ingredients to try and make it at home because paying $5 for one is.
And Starbucks coffee will always taste a little burnt.
Just they roast it that way on purpose because that evens out any of differences between batches. Yeah.
Yeah, which I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
One of our local coffee shops that I used to absolutely adore, the ownership changed hands, and I love the new owners, but they buy from a different roaster and everything is like really burnt, like just bitter across the board. Even when you buy the lattes with all the sweeteners in, it's just like it makes me sad. And Java Punk closed, so that's tragic. And the one of my other coffee shops, which still makes amazing coffee, great gluten-free sandwiches, like great place for food and drink. I think they're one of their owners is a flat earther.
Oh dear.
I'm not going to stop giving them money. I don't think they like contribute to like bad things happening in the world or anything, but I said something jokingly about flat earthers on Facebook, and he responded with a serious answer, and I was like,
yeah, that's oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear.
on the very slight chance he ever sees this, I still love you. You're great. He'll never see this.
Doubt it.
The question was, how do flat earthers explain moon phases? And he came back with, well, I've observed that half the moon is transparent. And I was like,
what? What? In what way has he observed this?
He could see stars through it when he was taking a picture one night. And he doesn't think it reflects sunlight because the side of the moon that is lit, it doesn't necessarily correspond with the place in the sky that the sun is when they're both in the sky at the same time. I'm like, we're living on a ball. Forced perspective is involved. And also, no, you didn't see stars through it. And also, and I did try to ask how you explain a crescent moon at that point, and he told me it's sad to not live in a free country anymore. And at that point, I was like,
oh man, I was joking with a coworker yesterday who lives in Australia.
mm-hmm.
So I have a coworker in Texas, coworker in Australia, and then there's me. So my coworker in Texas is like, what's the temperature in Colorado right now? And I said, oh, it's 26 degrees. You see where this is going. So my coworker,
Jesus.
Well, so this was the girl in Texas. So she was like, oh yeah, that's really cold. And the guy from Australia was like, it's 28 degrees here and I'm sweating. and I was like, that's because you're measuring in the rest of the world units and not in freedom height. Which you may know is an Alex Steele reference.
Oh yeah.
I doubt that he knew that, but then one of my other coworkers chimed in. His husband is from Germany, and he said when he moved to America, they went to a Walmart, and the cashier asked his husband where he was from, and he said Germany, and she said very seriously, "Oh wow, do you have freedom over there?" to which he replied in a German deadpan, "No, what's freedom?" And I said, well, if I recall correctly from 2002, it's when you get the oil real hot and then you dip the potatoes in.
Do you remember? Oh, are you old enough to remember? You probably are. The little diner that had replaced French with freedom on every item in the menu, and they had that wall of drawings, and one of the drawings was the French flag.
I don't specifically remember that place. I do remember wearing a French flag shirt to the 4th of July parade, and everyone telling me, "Oh wow, you're so patriotic," because they didn't recognize it.
Yeah, we got kicked out of that greasy spoon. Us as McFaddens, we saw the French flag on the wall and we bust out laughing, and we were joking and joshing. And this was a place, it was a greasy spoon. You're supposed to bus your own table. They came over as we were like on our last few bites and took our tray away and said, "You're done, right?" We'll just take
it. That sounds like us. It's right there.
But it's red, white, and blue.
That was the dumbest trend. Anyways,
freedom dip, freedom fries, freedom toast.
Look, I would have trouble with that because freedom toast sounds like what people in Texas would call Texas toast. Like,
I like there to be restrictions on my toast.
I actually have very severe restrictions on my toast. The butter needs to go all the way to the edge. It better be completely melted.
Thank
you. Yes.
Yeah.
I have a friend who has very similar like sensory stuff to me, and so we'll just talk about like, don't you hate it when this happens? Like,
the biggest tantrums I threw as a small child were when the seam in my socks was turned so that it didn't line up with my toes, and I would apparently kick my shoes off wherever we were and straighten that out right away because it was hell to me.
Mm-hmm. Sock seams and collar tags in shirts are you can just like walk into a room and be like, so who here hates shirt tags? And then you know who's neurodivergent in the room.
Yeah, totally undiagnosed all up in here. Just have every single hallmark. I am a duck.
Mm-hmm. No, same, but self-diagnosis is valid because it's very hard to get an official diagnosis and usually not worth the money.
Yeah.
Anyways, should we read Lord of the Rings?
Read Lord of the Rings.
I already found our place.
Yay!
Also, because I know you can't see it, this episode is titled Dern Whom?
And I will be working on an illustration for Balance Dance.
Hey.
I decided to bring up the one where they're dancing, so we're going to use some brighter colors. I had a damn hard time sketching it because my knee jerk is to put like leaves and bugs and things, and it's supposed to be March, so I need to make sure that I keep it, twigs and bare earth. And I looked it up. Lightning bugs are totally wrong, but I'm going to put them in anyway. A Luna moth would be okay.
Luna moth would be cool.
Yeah. Yeah, those come out in early spring in some climates, so we're going to go with that.
Sweet. All right. If you recall from last week, they were starting the Marshal of Rohan.
Ah, yes. Yes.
Oh, sorry, the Master of Rohan.
Oh, what's his name with the red arrow?
The red arrow?
The red arrow.
The red arrow.
And let the negging commence.
The king turned to Merry. I'm going to war, Master Meriadoc, he said. In a little while I shall take the road. I release you from my service, but not from my friendship. You shall abide here, and if you will, you shall serve the Lady Eowyn, who will govern the folk in my stead. That's what you think.
Right.
But, Lord, Merry stammered, I offered you my sword. I do not want to be parted from you like this, Theoden King. And as all my friends have gone to the battle, I should be ashamed to stay behind. But we ride on horses tall and swift, said Theoden. And great though your heart be, you cannot ride on such beasts. Then tie me to the back of one, or let me hang on a stirrup or something, said Merry. My brain read hang on a syrup.
Nope.
Nay. Nope. And let's see. It is a long way to run, but run I shall if I cannot ride, even if I wear my feet off and arrive weeks too late. Theoden smiled. Rather than that, I would bear you with me on Snowmane, he said. But at the least you shall ride with me to Edoras and look on Medusel, for that way I shall go. So far, Stibba can bear you. The great race will not begin till we reach the plains. Then Eowyn rose up. Come now, Meriadoc, she said. I will show you the gear that I have prepared for you. They went out together. This request only did Aragorn make to me, said Eowyn as they passed among the tents, that you should be armed for battle. I have granted it as I could.
No, he didn't. She made that up.
I was just thinking, I don't remember him saying that.
Nope. She used him as an excuse. Because she has decided that the Hobbit goes to war.
And she's also decided that she goes to war, and both of those she knows nobody else would agree with her on. She's just like, Aragorn told me to do it.
Yeah. Who's gonna argue? Because he's a man.
Yeah. Look, misogyny is alive and well among the Rohirrim. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it totally
is.
It's a shame, but it's a fact.
Let's see, I have granted it as I could, for my heart tells me that you will need such gear ere the end. And by my heart tells me, I mean I have already decided.
I have decided.
We're gonna pretend
prophecy because I'm going to make the prophecy come true.
Right, we're gonna pretend it's my feminine intuition, but my feminine intuition is actually just me saying what I'm about to do.
She has been reduced to terrible stratagems to actually get shit done the way she wants to.
It's true. It's true. Is that the transparent half of the moon you're drawing right now?
Yes, indeed. Want to know something cool though? Like from the land of actual stuff that happens in the real universe. Reality, yes. There it is. The equinox, the spring equinox, is always the first quarter moon.
Oh,
so the fact that the story is about balance and the moon is like astronomically correct to be half dark and half light it just made me really super happy.
Yeah, that's awesome. Also just really interesting. Okay.
Right?
I'm like, how is that? No, but it makes it, I don't know. I don't know if it makes sense. I'm not an astronomer.
Right? I need to look into it a little better, but I did look it up, and I mean, unless Google lied.
Look, they wouldn't let them put it on the internet if it wasn't true.
I'm sure someone will correct me if I'm wrong, but I also was mistaken in thinking that a quarter moon was a quarter moon. The first quarter is the half. That's the name for it. And I was like, oh. Yep.
All right then. Let's see, where was I? Oh, yes. My heart tells me that you will need such gear at the end.
Yes.
Now she led Mary to a booth among the lodges of the king's guard, and there in armor brought out to her a small helm and a round shield and other gear. No mail have we to fit you, said Eowyn, nor any time for the forging of such a hauberk. But here is also a stout jerkin of leather, a belt, and a knife. A sword you have. Mary bowed, and the lady showed him the shield, which was like the shield that had been given to Gimli, and it bore on it the device of the white horse. Take all these things, she said, and bear them to good fortune. Farewell now, Master Meriadoc. Yet maybe we shall meet again, you and I. Maybe. I just have this feeling.
My heart tells me.
My heart tells me I'm having mac and cheese with hot dogs for dinner. Just this feeling I have. I can't explain it.
You are mystical.
Mystical Hot Dogs would be a great name for a band.
It would.
So it was that amid a gathering gloom, the king of the Mark made ready to lead all his riders on the eastward road. Hearts were heavy, and many quailed in the shadow. But they were a stern people, loyal to their lord, and little weeping or murmuring was heard, even in the camp in the hold where the exiles from Edoras were housed, women and children and old men. Doom hung over them, but they faced it silently. I know, I can't say the word without going. Doom, 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 doom. They just have like Gur hang up from the ceiling like a chandelier. Doom, 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 doom. 2 swift hours passed, and now the king sat upon his white horse, glimmering in the half-light. Proud and tall he seemed, though the hair that flowed beneath his high helm was like snow, and many marveled at him, and took heart to see him unbent and unafraid. There on the wide flats beside the noisy river were marshalled in many companies well-nigh 55 hundreds of riders, fully armed, and many hundreds of other men with spare horses lightly burdened. A single trumpet sounded. The king raised his hand, and then silently the host of the Mark began to move. Foremost went 12 of the king's household men, riders of renown. Then the king followed, with Eomer on his right. He had said farewell to Eowyn above in the hold, and the memory was grievous. But now he turned his mind to the road that lay ahead. Behind him, Merry rode on Stibba with the errand riders of Gondor, and behind them again 12 more of the king's household. They passed down the long ranks of waiting men with stern and unmoved faces. But when they had come almost to the end of the line, one looked up, glancing keenly at the hobbit. A young man, Merry thought, as he returned the glance, less in height and girth than most. He caught the glint of clear grey eyes. And then he shivered, for it came suddenly to him that it was the face of one without hope, who goes in search of death.
Funny how he sees so much, and yet...
And yet he's like, what a short and beardless young man that is, with eyes that look so familiar.
I can see into his very soul. I know what he's thinking. I wonder who he is.
Mary's intuition's not telling him very much at this moment.
Well, he's not feminine enough.
That must be it.
Yep.
I was just thinking as I was reading this, like, the people at the back, like the riders at the back of the line are not even going to be leaving for like 2 more hours.
Yep.
You've been in a parade. You know what they're like.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They're just sitting there.
Right? Like, I could still be eating breakfast. What am I doing on this horse already?
Their horses have their nose bags on, like...
Someone in the back is like still drinking coffee and like braiding his beard
and shaving.
Well, it's Middle Earth, so it'd be more like On down the grey road they went, beside the Snowbourne rushing on its stones, through the hamlets of Underharrow and Upgore, where many sad faces of women looked out from dark doors, and so without horn or harp or music of men's voices, the great ride into the east began, with which the songs of Rohan were busy for many long lives of men thereafter. This is a relatively short song.
Okay, keep it.
From dark Dunharrow in the dim morning, with Théoden captain rode Thengil's son. To Edoras he came, the ancient halls of the Mark Wardens mist enshrouded, golden timbers wearing gloom mantled. Farewell he bade to his free people, hearth and high seat, and the hallowed places, where long he had feasted ere the light faded. Forth rode the king, fear behind him, fate before him, fealty kept he, oaths he had taken, all fulfilled them. Forth rode Théoden, 5 nights and days east and onward rode the Eorlingas, through fold and fen march in the Firian wood, 6,000 spears to Sunlanding, Mundburg the mighty under Mindoluin. Sea King's city in the south kingdom, foe beleaguered, fire encircled, doom drove them on, darkness took them. Horse and horseman, hoofbeats afar, sank into silence. So the songs tell us. It was indeed in deepening gloom that the king came to Edoras, although it was then but noon by the hour. There he halted only a short while, and strengthened his host by some 80 of riders that came late to the weapon take. Imagine how embarrassing that would be. Hey, we're here. Sorry.
What?
We had to go back. Thengilin forgot his cell phone. Now having eaten, he made ready to set out again, and he wished his esquire a kindly farewell, but Merry begged for the last time not to be parted from him. This is no journey for such steeds as Stibba, as I have told you, said Théoden.
Look, you little squirt. I'm saving your life. Stay home.
And in such a battle as we think to make on the fields of Gondor, what would you do, Master Meriadoc, sword thane though you be, and greater of heart than of stature? That is basically like, look, you little
shorty.
As for that, who can tell, answered Merry. But why, Lord, did you receive me as sword thane, if not to stay by your side? And I would not have it said of me in song, only that I was always left behind. That would really suck. Here is what Frodo did. Here were the great deeds of Sam and of Pippin, and Merry, well, he was left behind.
He stayed. He yeah.
He hung out in Edoras and ate bread and was sad.
Of course, Theoden has a point too. Like, that is a really shitty reason to risk your life, dude. Like,
well, I mean, we're in like a legendary heraldic battle type situation. There's only shitty reasons to risk your life.
And how? All right. Where were we? Look, you little squirt.
Yeah. I received you for your safekeeping, answered Theoden, and also to do as I might bid. None of my riders can bear you as burden. If the battle were before my gates, maybe your deeds would be remembered by the minstrels. But it is 100 leagues and two to Munburg, where Denethor is lord. I will say no more. Merry bowed and went away unhappily, and stared at the lines of horsemen. Already the companies were preparing to start. Men were tightening girths, looking to saddles, caressing their horses. Some gazed uneasily at the lowering sky. Unnoticed, a rider came up and spoke softly in the hobbit's ear. Where will wants not, a way opens, so we say, he whispered, and so I have found myself. Merry looked up and saw that it was the young rider whom he had noticed in the morning. You wish to go whither the Lord of the Mark goes. I see it in your face. I do, said Merry. Then you shall go with me, said the rider. I will bear you before me under my cloak until we are far afield, and this darkness is yet darker. Such goodwill should not be denied. Say no more to any man, but come. Thank you indeed, said Merry. Thank you, sir, though I do not know your name.
Do you not?
Do you not? Said the rider softly. Wow. Wow. This hobbit's kind of dumb. Then call me Dern Whom. Do you not? Or to put it another way, seriously, dude?
Seriously? Okay. Yeah, that would have been really difficult to recreate in the movie.
Right? Thus it came to pass that when the king set out, before Dern Whom sat Meriadoc the hobbit, and the great grey steed Windfola made little of the burden. For Dern Whom was less in weight than many men, though lithe and well knit in frame.
Oh, trying to fool the audience, too.
On into the shadow they rode.
And he had some great boobs!
I'm over here, Mary.
Lisa.
Thus it came to pass that when the king set out, before Dern Whom sat Meriadoc the hobbit. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, there we go. Less in weight than many men, blah, blah. On into the shadow they rode. In the willow thickets where Snowbourne flowed into Entwash, 12 leagues east of Edoras, they camped that night. Then on again through the fold, and through the fen march, where to their right great oak woods climbed on the skirts of the hills, under the shades of dark Halifierin. Halifierin?
Halfirian.
Halfirian. Oh, okay. There's a silent I in there. It threw me off. Halfirian, by the borders of Gondor.
I could be wrong.
It's spelled Halifirien.
Yeah, Halifirian.
Halifirian, okay. Tolkien. By the borders of Gondor. But away to their left, the mists lay on the marshes fed by the mouths of Entwash. And as they rode, rumor came of war in the north. Lone men riding wild brought word of foes assailing their east borders, of orc hosts marching in the wold of Rohan. Ride on, cried Eomer. Too late now to turn aside. The fens of Entwash must guard our flank. Haste now we need. Ride on.
Ride on!
Ride on.
Feels like they should be singing the Ride On song. Ride on, men!
Ride on my way. No. And so King Theoden departed from his own realm, and mile by mile the long road wound away, and the beacon hills marched past. Calenhad, Minramon, Erelas, Nardal. But their fires were quenched. All the lands were grey and still, and ever the shadow deepened before them, and hope waned in every heart.
Wait, are we there? Yeah, no, we good.
No, we good. We're just at the end of the chapter.
Check.
Chapter 4, The Siege of Gondor.
Oh boy.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Get ready for Denethor's A+ parenting, people.
Yes, well. Yeah. He is absolutely despairing, and I like that the recurring theme of the book is, yeah, but you shouldn't.
Yeah, the enemy throughout the books is despair, and I think that gets borne out in a lot of ways in the real world as well.
Right? Like, all of those are self-fulfilling prophecies, people.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't let them fulfill themselves, then they don't.
Right, exactly. Like, climate change is a great example. There's a lot that can be done about it, but not if you decide that there's nothing that can be done about it.
Yeah. Yeah, the reason we don't hear about acid rain anymore is because something was done about it. Like, it is doable.
Yeah, what is it? Chlorofluorocarbons that was opening the hole in the ozone layer. Yeah, that's closed.
Yeah.
When we stopped using them. Like,
because we can't, because Tolkien was right.
Because Tolkien was right. There are bacteria evolving to eat plastic all over the world.
Life lives where life can. Where
Exactly.
life can't, this takes a little longer.
Oh, pray Hatchet. All right. Anyways, the Siege of Gondor. Denethor made some bad decisions.
Yeah.
Despair is the enemy.
Yeah.
Before I get into this next chapter, have you seen the teaser trailer for the Amazon Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
That's how I feel too.
I could go either way. Like, maybe, but I don't. But why are they calling it the Lord of the Rings? Why?
Right, the Rings of Power. What is the story even that they're telling? It's very...
And I've heard rumors that they're going off canon, and I'm like, why the fuck would you go off canon? There's 50 years of canon.
There's so much fucking canon.
Goddamn canon. Like Christopher Tolkien spent his entire 85-year lifespan sorting out the canon. There's so much.
There's more than enough. Also, this was a very small nitpick, but I miss Cate Blanchett's voice reciting the Ring poem. It doesn't sound the same with whoever the heck that was that has a random voice.
Yeah,
like, she doesn't sound.
It's not Cate.
It's not Cate, and she doesn't have enough gravitas. Anyways, okay.
Although I did hear that the pouring of the metal into the wooden mold was actually done in camera, like that's actual metal in a wooden mold, and that's why it behaves so organically and doesn't move as smoothly as a CG would.
That's cool.
That is cool.
For them.
It is.
I'm still not going to forgive them if they go off canon.
Right. That was just a rumor, so it could be incorrect.
I worry.
If we're going second age, there's so much to work with in the second age, and
there's so much.
I want to see the 7 Sons of Feanor so I can start keeping them straight in my head, because they defeat me every time. I have no idea.
Well, let's hope they cast them as people who look slightly different and not as 7 generic white dudes, because then I'm not going to keep them straight.
Right. Yeah, and the other thing that they could do right that hasn't been done yet in Middle-earth is bring us some fucking variety. Can the Teleri, I think, are a breed of elf that like live in the ocean, on the ocean, and they're the shipbuilders and everything. Could they like be a not white? Could somebody?
Somebody, please. Anyone, except not the villains, because that's right. Exactly, because that's kind of like the problem that we have in the actual books. That's where they can break canon.
There we go.
They can break the racist parts of canon. Please break the racist parts of canon. Leave everything else alone.
Pale-skinned orcs and dark-skinned elves, and I will be a happy camper.
Agreed. All right, let's go siege Gondor.
Yeah. Well, let's go break the siege of Gondor.
Yes. We're going to have to siege it first, though.
Well, yeah.
Pippin was roused by Gandalf. Candles were lit in their chamber, for only a dim twilight came through the windows. The air was heavy as with approaching thunder. "What is the time?" said Pippin, yawning. "Past the second hour," said Gandalf. Time to get up and make yourself presentable. You are summoned to the lord of the city to learn your new duties. And will he provide breakfast? God, I love hobbits.
Yep.
No, I have provided it, all that you will get till noon. Food is now doled out by order. Pippin looked ruefully at the small loaf and, he thought, very inadequate pat of butter which was set out for him beside a cup of thin milk.
Inadequate pat of butter is a great phrase, too.
It is, but also, like, I know that feeling of, like, that's not enough butter for that much bread.
No. Don't tell. What part of the bread are you telling me to eat dry? You cruel monster.
Is that a cup of skim milk, dude? Come on.
Right. Why?
Why did you bring me here? He said. You know quite well, said Gandalf, to keep you out of mischief. And if you do not like being here, you could remember that you brought it on yourself.
Yeah.
And said no more. No one negs a hobbit like Gandalf.
Right? Slap him down.
Before long, he was walking with Gandalf once more down the cold corridor to the door of the Tower Hall. There Denethor sat in a grey gloom like an old patient spider, Pippin thought. He did not seem to have moved since the day before. He beckoned Gandalf to a seat, but Pippin was left for a while standing unheeded. Presently the old man turned to him. Well, Master Peregrine, I hope that you used yesterday to your profit, to your liking, though I fear that the board is barer in this city than you could wish. Pippin had an uncomfortable feeling that most of what he had said or done was somehow known to the lord of the city, and much was guessed of what he thought as well. He did not answer. What would you do in my service? I thought, sir, that you would tell me my duties. I will when I learn what you are fit for, said Denethor. But that I shall learn soonest, maybe, if I keep you beside me. The esquire of my chamber has begged leave to go out with the outgarrison. This is hard. It's a hard sentence to read. Ahem.
Ahem.
The esquire of my chamber has begged leave to go to the outgarrison, so you shall take his place for a while. You shall wait on me, bear errands, and talk to me, if war and council leave me any leisure. Can you sing? Yes, said Pippin. Well, yes, well enough for my own people. But we have no songs fit for great halls in evil times, lord. We seldom sing of anything more terrible than wind or rain. And most of my songs are about things that make us laugh, or about food and drink, of course.
A wizard's staff has a knob at the end.
But the hedgehog...
I want someone to sing the hedgehog song, you Denethor.
I was just thinking how much hobbits would love Nanny Og.
Oh, yeah, she's a born hobbit.
I feel like Granny would fit in with the Dunedain.
Yep. She's got that. Oh, I just reread.
Oh dear. Well, we shall wait for her to return. I'm trying to figure out where Magrat would fit in here. Where would Magrat Garlic fit into Middle Earth? Maybe with Tom Bombadil?
I just reread Witches Abroad, and I'd forgotten how awesome the scene is when she's being threatened with a voodoo doll, and she sets it on fire by putting her arm in a torch.
I love Witches Abroad. Also for the part where the Snake Sisters confront Magrat, and it's like, the problem with small, fuzzy things is that occasionally one of them's a weasel.
Mongoose!
A mongoose, yes.
Oh, yes.
I was trying to think where Magrat would fit into Middle Earth.
Oh, that is a good question. I don't know. She's a little too ineffectual to be elfish.
I was thinking she could be like, sort of helping Tom Bombadil with his stuff.
Sure. Just in general, honestly, she's a bit like some of the more low-key hobbits too.
A bit. Or maybe like someone from Lake Town.
She could be from Lake Town. Need to think on that for a while.
Hmm.
And she evolves a lot. That's the other thing. I know we're tangenting really badly, but so I'm reading the Percy Jackson books to Avi, and they're fine. They're fine books, but I'm spoiled because I'm accustomed to Discworld, and where if a person develops a new skill, they keep that skill and it comes into play later. Like if a person has an epiphany in one book, it's not forgotten about in the next book. And Percy Jackson's driving me nuts because it's a lot more typical. They have this massive adventure, but then they're back to their ground state.
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
There just aren't that many series that follow up on the actual emotional growth of the characters.
And it's so necessary to me anymore, and so it means I can't read very many things with pleasure because of how often it's like Percy and Annabeth are arguing, and I'm like, this is the exact same argument you had 2 years ago, and you resolved it beautifully, and now you're canceling that? Like, stop. Just grow. Magrat only has to fight off a snake sister once. By the time she has a baby, she is an ass-kicking woman. Like, she goes snake sister, queen of the elves, fucking vampires. And yeah, I'm like, and Granny starts out great. She doesn't really need a lot of development in that direction, but we get to see like stuff come out that maybe she wouldn't have
Mm-hmm.
we wouldn't have known about. So that's just
Well, to wrap up this stream, I have something that's been in my mind for a few minutes that I'd like to share with you.
Yes.
It goes like this.
Uh-oh.
No one eggs like Gandalf, stretches legs like Gandalf. No one's fireworks saw dragon eggs like Gandalf. My, what a my Gandalf.
No! We're gonna have to come back to that.
As a wizard, he's certainly something, as he's gone from the gray to the white. I don't know. I'm losing the tune of the song there, but yeah. I've been percolating that.
That is beautiful. Did you ever go read my lyrics for Tower of Carathungal?
Where were they?
On Facebook.
No, I have not been on Facebook in like 6 months.
Oh, let's see how much I can remember. In a dark spider tunnel, cruel webs in my hair. Horrid smell of a Shelob permeating the air. Up ahead in the distance, I saw a red twitching light. Oh, how does the rest go?
Probably my heart grew heavy and my sight grew dim.
I had to go in and fight. No, you can wait 2 seconds because this is good. I wrote the whole thing. I was feeling very, very inspired. It's somewhere in here. Oh, rank stink of a Shelob permeating the air. Up ahead in the tower, I saw a sinister light. The ring was heavy and my sight was dim. I had to go in and fight. There they stood in the gateway. I felt the watchers hate, and I was thinking, Sam, my lad, hustle your ass or it might be too late. So I lift up the star glass and I brandish the sting. There were bodies in the corridor. Thought I heard something. Welcome to the Tower of Kirithungle. Such an earthly place. Climbing right up in the Tower of Kirithungle. Corpses everywhere, corpses everywhere. Is my master there? I wrote the whole thing.
I love it. Oh, good times. All right. Well, my heart tells me that I should go cook dinner.
Whoa.
Whoa,
Kind of
dude.
Sybil going on. Ooh.
Mystical.
I love you.
I love you too.
I'll talk to you later.
Mhm.
Good night.
Good night.